First of all, let me start with a very, very basic question. What do, new media congresses like this one, what purpose does that achieve?
I think, depending where you go, I think Europe and the States right now going to a new media congress, you get quite bored. India is something different for me because it provides you a network in India, which many of us don't have. Secondly, it provides insights that we don't have. And just from this morning's session, just speaking to many people, and it's not so much about the presentations, about who you meet and who you have discussions with, that you start getting insights on the country and actually what's happening in the industry.
Well, you are associated a lot with the mobile phone and mobile video in South Africa, I hear. When you see a place like India, what are your first impressions of what you see in South Africa vis-a-vis in India?
I think it's less so South Africa and more Africa that there are huge parallels to be drawn, because there are low ARPUs from most of the mobile operators, so there's a large market as well as still penetration still to come. So what you really see is you see a market that's growing very quickly, which is important to us. And we see people who don't necessarily have access to TVs on a daily basis. So what the mobile phone could become in time, which is going to become in any event compared to the internet in India, is probably going to become a substitute for the internet in India. And I think that the mobile TV service, if it gets off the ground properly, could also become a substitute for TV in India, as it is becoming fast in Africa as well.
What about your plans to come into India?
We have grand plans with NDTV, but our biggest hurdle right now is regulation. And it's like that all over the world. So it really depends on what the government's going to do and what the government's going to allow us to do.
What are the major challenges? You talked about regulation. What specifically within this regulation is a challenge?
Look, in the market we deal in, we need a frequency to be able to transmit the signal. And frequencies all over the world are scarce resources and are owned by governments. And governments go through processes to allow people to get access to the frequencies. So that's the biggest challenge in any market. We received a license in Germany. So we're busy operationalizing a business in Germany right now. And we've done the same in five countries in Africa, and we're busy expanding in Africa as well. But really, the biggest challenge in this business is actually getting access to the frequency.
What about if you compare a country like India to China? Do you have a presence in any of the emerging markets?
But China's a closed market, especially on broadcasting.
Oh, yes.
Very closed. So the biggest difference is that India is far more democratic than a country like China, and they allow a lot more in India than they would in China. So I would say it's a more open market than China, and therefore, also from a technology point of view, you'll find that the Chinese develop their own technologies. So you can't take a standard and implement it in China. You actually need to wait for the Chinese to be able to develop the standard and then use that standard if you are going to do business in China.
What about a place like Brazil?
Brazil is also a fantastic market. We've got businesses in Brazil as well. We have looked at it. We're not going to probably do mobile TV in Brazil. It's just because of resources more than anything else. But again, it's a fantastic market. Huge mobile penetration. Similar types of characteristics because it's a developing market. And we believe that mobile TV is particularly well suited to developing markets.
Revenue generation. Are you seeing innovative ways to generate revenue? Have you seen any instances that you've been sort of inspired by in India at all, or is it in its infancy here?
Look, I think that we have our group as an internet business in India as well, which has been a grassroots venture which has come up from absolutely nothing. So it's the name's Vivo, and the things that these guys are doing are fantastic. India is an innovative. The Indian culture is innovative, and especially on the technology point of view, they take advantage of all types of technology to innovate. So, look, it's a fantastic environment to be part of. Yeah.
What about branding and advertising on?
Advertising has lagged on the mobile phone. It's lagged worldwide. My personal belief is that it won't lag for much longer, that advertising will start growing on the mobile phone. It's just how to get those advertising models right and what will work. But it's like social networking. You saw a presentation on social networking this morning. Social networking hasn't made money anywhere in the world really yet. There are companies that are valued at lots of money, but they're not really generating the revenues. I think it'll take time, but I think that because you have such mass penetration of the device, that advertisers want to be able to get to consumers, and to get to consumers, you want relevance, you want to be able to target that consumer, and you want to be able to actually identify who you're targeting. The mobile phone provides all of that, so it must work long term.
Have you seen any example around the world that has really worked?
Look, there are lots of mobile advertising initiatives that are generating revenue. They're just not generating large amounts of revenue. And what happens is that traditional media and traditional advertisers take their time to latch onto new forms. Look at the internet. Before Google, you didn't have an advertising model really on the internet. There was banners and all the rest of that stuff, but there was nothing really that was commercializing the internet properly. And the mobile will come. So there are many different types, and they're following an internet model to a large degree. So there are banners and buttons and click-throughs and that type of thing. But the advertising community needs to start adopting these new measures and pushing them into their clients as well. And that's something that's lagging.
Thank you very much, sir.